Newsom furious as GM sold us out. California Gavin Newsom wanted his state to be the firewall that protected the public and automakers from the reality of the federal electric vehicle tax credit going away. He pledged that Sacramento would step in and take up the slack created by the feds, but it wasn't quite clear where the money was going to come from. With time running out on the tax credit, and California already operating at a deficit, the unfortunate reality has rolled in that the state won't be able to foot the bill. But the true blame for the anti-EV measures cooked up in the big beautiful bill, according to Newsom, that's the American auto manufacturers, led by General Motors. Welcome back to Critical Materials, your daily roundup for all things electric and tech in the automotive space. California governor says GM sold us out over emissions. It can't replace the Fed's $7,500 EV tax credit. California won't be able to shield its residents from the end of the federal EV tax credit after September 30th as planned. In a speech, Newsom confirmed that the state is not in a position to restart any direct EV subsidies to offset the loss of the $7,500 tax credit provided by the federal government, as reported by Automotive News and SFGate. Instead, California is guaranteeing continued support in committing taxpayer funding towards infrastructure projects across the state. Here is the latest from Automotive News. California will not backfill a $7,500 federal tax credit for buyers of electric vehicles that is set to expire this month, Gov. Gavin Newsom said, reversing an earlier pledge to restart the state's own EV subsidies. We can't make up for federal vandalism of those tax credits, Newsom said during a press conference September 19 in San Francisco. The state will support expanding EV infrastructure, but not the direct subsidies that we cannot make up for, the Democrat said. President Donald Trump campaigned on rolling back many of former President Joe Biden's EV-friendly policies. Congress followed through in the major tax and spending bill, which placed a September 30th expiration on the tax credit, ending years of federal support for EV buyers. The state's budget deficit makes EV incentives tough to justify at the moment. For example, more than 25% of all new 2024 vehicle registrations in California were EVs. It's unclear how many of the 378,910 EVs or their buyers qualified for the full tax credit, but assuming a maximum of $7,500 across the board, it could mean a maximum federal payout of around $2.84 billion in direct subsidies. Newsom also pointed the blame at the USA auto industry for the passing of anti-EV measures in the big beautiful bill that revoked the EV tax credit. GM sold us out, Newsom said, tying the tax credit revocation to the national undoing of California's work on reducing tailpipe emissions and Congress blocking California's planned 2035 gas car ban. Mary Barra sold us out, eliminating Ronald Reagan's work, eliminating the progress we made under the California Air Resources Board in 1967, where we began the process of regulating tailpipe emissions. The Republicans rolled that back this year, under Donald Trump's leadership, but the American automobile manufacturers allowed that to happen, Newsom said. GM led that effort. GM declined to comment to Automotive News. GM has accepted that the tax credit era has come to an end. Like many automakers, it has been flushing out old stock ahead of the deadline, while tapering down production of EVs to meet the anticipated demand. And in a recent letter to car shoppers and investors, GM said not to expect irrational EV discounts after the tax credit ends after September 30th, and set expectations that EV sales will be down for a while. The market is with few exceptions now on its own, and the correction could weigh heavily on brands and supply chain partners in the coming quarters. Source: reposted and summarized from Rob Stumpf at insideevs.